Hey everybody, how you doing? We are back with another episode of IoT Nuggets with IoT Group. I'm Doug Cohen, and I am joined by two guests today. First, Mr. Steve Brummer from IoT Group, who is with me on all of these. So,
Can't get rid of me, Doug. Cannot get rid of me.
Try as I might, Steve. And today we're also joined by a special guest, Mr. Carl Ford from IoT Evolution Expo. Hello, Carl.
Hey, Doug.
And what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to pass it off in a minute to Steve and Carl to discuss IoT Evolution Expo, which is happening in person in Miami this year, which is really exciting. We've talked about that a little bit on previous episodes. And before we go there, just remember bhiotgroup.com, and you can reach out and connect with Steve and John Hubler, the H in IoT Group, for an initial 30-minute consultation to talk about your IoT execution plan and where IoT Group fits in and can help you expedite it. So don't forget about that. And then with that being said, let's move on. Steve, take it away with Carl, and let's hear more about IoT Evolution Expo.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug. Carl, thanks for coming on. Appreciate the opportunity to have you here and talk a little bit about one of our favorite events of the year, IoT Evolution Expo. So, we had a COVID year where we didn't have the show. 2 years ago, we were in Fort Lauderdale. Now you're moving down to the Miami Beach Convention Center, June 22nd through 24th, for the first face-to-face IoT focused show in quite a long period of time. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. How'd you pull this off? Are we all safe with COVID? What are you doing?
Well, you're with me in Florida these days, and so Florida is kind of, it's interesting to watch the rest of the country where we've kind of opened up really big. The casinos are open, the churches are open, God and country and whatever we want to call the casinos are taking advantage of basically being around again. We all primarily wear masks. I don't really see anybody not wearing a mask when they're outside in public, but we're all taking advantage of this. And, I'm seeing, large numbers returning to, the only thing I haven't seen big numbers at is in theaters, but restaurants are doing real well, so we're kind of lively. And the beauty of where we're going to be, coming back to Miami Beach, is you've got Lincoln Avenue, right? With all the outdoor cafes and all the outdoor restaurants and just the ability to walk around. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to being back in Miami Beach. It's just going to be really nice.
What's the COVID protocols that you have in place? Are we getting temperature checks?
We're getting temperature checks. There's some questions that'll be asked when you're getting your registration, but by and large, my expectations are that, if you've managed to get here, you're probably in pretty good shape. Got people traveling are going to have to go through the airport experience. People who are basically in Florida have already we're all kind of inoculated now, and we're doing pretty well. So, I think this is going to work pretty well. We've made extra space on the booth area, so social distancing can be performed. And unless there's somebody who's got such great hot technology that everybody's going to cluster into space, where we think we've got it all covered.
Excellent. So tell us what the theme is. Who's committed? Are we doing sessions on the floor? Are we doing the trade show booths are open?
It's going to look much the same as it always does, right? We're about 20% down right now on registration from what we would normally expect at this time to the show. Because, the way it works is it all kind of jumps up in the last few weeks, right? And the big issue we see is that the show's going to have 5G as part of it. It's got smart city as part of it. It's got industrial as part of it. It's IoT Evolution itself, of course. You're going to see some interesting conversations with NimbleLink as usual. We're going to have ICANN in its own experience, which I don't know if anybody's seen what ICANN does, but it's pretty amazing what they do with the 3D reality stuff that they project out. And we've got the future of work. We've got the channel stuff you guys participate in, and then in the rest of the Super Show, we've got things like blockchain and SD-WAN. So it's a nice conglomeration of things that are of strategic interest to people who are trying to either be digitally transformed, my favorite buzzwords, and people who are actually trying to figure out how they're going to manage the future, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, most of the people that I've been speaking to, about the event, because it's so important that we get back to doing face-to-face trade shows, and thank you for being the first group to step up to do that in our space. Many of the vendors, many of the resellers, and the channel people that are going to be there, are looking forward to being able to do deals. Meet with people, see the new technology, listen to them. Just shake hands with people and be together again. So I'm so glad that this is happening, and everybody that I've talked to is looking forward to it. And everybody,
it's no offense to everybody who did a virtual event, but they're really tough to cope with, right? You're got distractions going on in your life. It's hard to stay at the event, and then you've got the other issues associated with just the forum itself, right? I think I told you, Steve, my big thing for judging success is when someone comes off the stage and the line forms with the business cards to have the one-on-one conversation as to, I really like what you said. Here's what we're doing. I think there's synergies, or, we really need what you talked about. Those kind of conversations are the ones that I'm looking forward to.
Right. That and the lobby interaction. I mean, everybody gets together in the breaks and the lunches and the breakfast areas and talking about it before the keynotes. I would assume you got the keynotes all lined up. Any surprises there?
There's one more potential coming in. Let's stay tuned. We've got some interesting stuff going on. My favorite things going on right now is I've got conversation with Eric Berger. I don't know if you remember Eric, but Eric's been over at the STC as the CTO there, and he recently did a stint in the West Wing, and was worried about how we were managing Spectrum and what we need to do there. And he's going to have some great insight as to what's going on with the technology and where we're heading. We've got some. I think the stuff from NimbleLink's going to be right on the money for what's happening, how we're dealing with asset tracking. I think the big stories, this as well as I do, is we've got a whole bunch of new capabilities. Laura's really kind of taken off. You guys have been doing a lot of work in that space. The 5G, we're still waiting for the standard to kind of get to the point, but the narrowband IoT and the LTE-M are kind of nailed down, and we've got the opportunity to really kind of shine the light on what's going to happen with the technology. On the smart city stuff, we've got stuff going on with the city of Miami itself that looks interesting, that I think people will get a kick out of. I think the big story that we've got right now, more than anything else, is industrial still kind of driving a lot of it.
It is.
And it's all about how you can get things into, it's, how do I put this the right way? It's how you get things into the digitally transformed digital twin source of information. I've got some conversations going on right now about blockchain and IoT. And I don't particularly like this story, but when it comes to digital twin, and if there's a chain of custody or anything like that, it makes sense.
Yep, I do totally agree. So I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to participate. Hopefully, I will have a pretty good role there, Carl. Is that correct?
I expect, I will share something that no one else knows but you. Okay.
Oh gosh, we're in trouble.
So Ken Briota's coming back for a day. But Mo Nagel is the guy who's been doing most of the work, and he's been doing a great job. But Mo's getting married that weekend. So Mo is not going to be there to moderate. So you and I are going to have some major roles here, basically taking care of it all.
That's awesome. All right. So, Carl, how do we get more information on the event?
IoTEvolutionExpo.com is the URL. People should just, take a look, join us. I will say one other thing. Rooms are cheap right now. I don't know if you've looked, but I mean, it's a great time to be down there. So
that's right.
And the weather's still fine. I hear from my friends back up north that they're still hitting 45-degree, 50-degree weather, in May.
Not down here.
We don't have that problem. You can warm up and hang out with us a bit.
You got it. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Carl, for your time and the update on the show. We're all looking forward to it in the industry, and we're looking for a great, successful event. So, Doug,
back to you. On LinkedIn. If you don't know me yet and you want connections, there's only 25,000 people I know, so you might find someone.
There you go. All right, Doug, back to you.
Well, there you go. Thank you, gentlemen. Carl, very exciting stuff for IoT Evolution Expo. And as Carl mentioned, go to IoTEvolutionExpo.com to get more information. If you're in Florida, if you can get to Florida and you're in the IoT space and you want to meet some people and find out everything that's going on in the space, get to that expo. It's going to be great. And while you're at it, also don't forget to subscribe to the BH IoT Group YouTube channel, connect with them and follow on LinkedIn, and go to bhiotgroup.com and go to the contact page, fill out the form, find some ways to continue the dialogue with Steve and John to talk about your IoT deployment. And with that said, great job, gentlemen. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
I want to add two things if I can, Doug. The first is that Steve and John do a great job of kind of knowing the landscape, so they're well worth the conversation. So that's part one. And the other thing is, we didn't mention the fact that the show's June 22nd to the 25th. So in case people are asking when is this going to happen, come join us then. Thanks.
That's a good point. You don't want to just show up in Miami and hope that you picked the right day. All right, thank you, gentlemen.